think there's birds on my car. I like this parking lot because I think people feed the birds in it. I don't know why they would be on a car that's running, and I don't know why I started to whisper. Something moved in the back seat when I took off. And I'm looking for the phone that's on the dashboard. Hell of a workout. Right, Planet Fitness right there. So, rather eventful weekend. I ended up on a walk way out in Broken Arrow. I guess it would have been, well, yesterday or the day before. I think it was Friday, so the day before. This idiot is trying to turn left out of here. Hi! You're a pretty burb. I know, I usually have food for you. Sometimes I feed them too. But they're such pretty little murder birds. They're actual crows, so like murder birds. Well, crows or ravens? One of the two. Little smart beaky black things. Love those guys. They're amazing birds. Kind of wish I could keep one as a pet. So anyway, I'm way down in South Tulsa. One of my appointments flakes. I'm way down there, and I get a WAG alert for I thought it was downtown Tulsa, and I'm like, I can be there in 15 minutes. So I put it in. Put in the address in my GPS, and it's like 30 minutes. And I'm like, fine. So I go out there, and it's this guy. He hands me this enormous horse of a dog. He just like bebops out the door, hands me the leash, and says, "Go get him!" I'm like, "I'm trying to do some work, so go get him." I'm like, all right. So I walk this enormous dog, beautiful dog, super well behaved, loves everything. Brindle color, kind of like a pit, but might have been some Dane. I don't know. Looked like his ears were cropped. No docking of the tail though, so mostly intact, was neutered. So nuts and ears were gone. Poor dog. So nice guy, lovely guy. We went out like right down the main strip because I saw on the map this big green block, because I'm like, heck yeah, that looks like a park. We can make it to that park and back in 30 minutes. What the heck, let's go. So we get down there, and it's not a park, it's a cemetery, which for some reason on this particular map is the same color as like a public park where you would find like, you know, people and benches and birds and sacks to pick up dog poop. The dog didn't poop though, so I was fortunate on that. But I'm like, I am not going to take this enormous dog into a cemetery and have him drop a deuce in the middle of grandma's face. No. Super disrespectful, no. So I get the dog back home, I get a 5-star rating. Like, that's awesome. And then yesterday, so yeah, that one was on Friday. So yesterday, I get another walk. It's downtown. I go into this sort of swanky looking loft apartment setup. I'm in there, I'm just like, you know, I go to this guy's apartment, I open it up, I walk in. I'm expecting like an apartment-sized dog. Like, you know, not like a dog the size of an apartment, but like a dog the size of a dog that you would typically expect to find in an apartment. You know, like 35 pounds or less. My dog on a diet type less. No, this enormous horse of a dog, about the size as Brutus or Murderface or whatever the hell the dog's name from Friday was. I think it was Bruno. So Sal comes around the corner, and he is not about me being up in his business. He's like, boo, woo, woo. Like, I'm like, the neighbors are probably calling the cops because someone's getting murdered by, like, Cerberus upstairs. So I'm like, I'm trying to calm him down, trying to let him smell my fingers. My fingers are like inside of his mouth as he's barking at me. He's not trying to bite me, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pull back for a second. I grab his leash, and it was like an instant change. Like, oh, you're one of those people. I've seen you before. And I'm like, what the crap, you know? So I walk this dog, beautiful, perfectly well-behaved dog, loves everything, wants to investigate. So we're walking around, and I get back to Sal's apartment. We get inside, and the first thing he does is run and get his rope. Like, my dog Joe has a rope, and he'll whip that thing around and play tug of war with me or whatever. So dude whips his rope around for a minute, and then he brings it to me while I'm like writing up my report and doing the pictures and stuff. And so I'm like, all right, buddy, we've had our 20 minutes, but I'll play with the rope with you for a minute or two while I'm writing this up. How about that? So he's like, grrr, pulling my arm off, having a great old time, whipping his head back and forth. My arm is shaking out of the socket. Finally get done. I submit the report, get up to leave, put my fingers on the light switch, my hand on the doorknob, and I turn around, and it's the saddest look I've ever seen on a dog. Well, maybe the second saddest, because there was a dog walk on Thursday that was almost as heartbreaking, but it started out almost as hilariously, and I'll get to that one in a second too. So, it's like the Sarah McLachlan commercial. He's like, how dare you abandon me like this? It was just the saddest look on a dog's face. Like, perfectly circular eyes just like boring into my soul. I'm just like, I wish I didn't have to leave right now, buddy, but I gotta get out of your dude's apartment, man. Like, 3 hours later, what's-his-face comes bebopping home, and I'm just like sitting on the couch chilling with this dog. I'm just like, he wouldn't let me leave. He looked so sad. So I leave Boofus, or whatever the hell his name is, in his apartment. I walk downstairs. I'm going out to my car, and parked right behind me is this car with Maryland license plates. Standing next to this car is a girl bawling, like ugly cry, just like gone, like inconsolable, like someone has just murdered her parents in front of her, inconsolable. And she's like, sir, is this your car? Yeah. She's like, I'm really sorry, but I think I bumped it while I was parking in it. And so I turn on my flashlight and I'm looking. I'm like, she didn't even like knock the dirt off, you know what I mean? So it's like she's like inconsolable, freaking out. Like, apparently this has never happened to her before. She's 1,500 miles away from home, or however far away from home she is, like 2,000 miles away from home. Ugly crying, like bawling, just gone. So I'm looking at it. It's fine. I'm looking at her. She's not fine. I'm like, it's fine. I bammed into the back of a guy outside of, what was it, Jackson, Mississippi one time. We were coming downhill into a traffic accordion. Couldn't have been avoided. The guy just waved me off. So, you know, hey, it happens. No harm done. No foul. You're fine. And she just like, okay. And so I get in the car and I leave, and I'm like, that's like a perfect setup, you know what I mean? Like, that's how people get kidnapped, right? Like I could see that happening, like maybe in a movie. But the guy comes out, unsuspecting, teenage girl bawling next to his car. I'm really sorry, I bumped your car. He turns around to look at the bump that may or may not have happened, and dude in a ski mask pops out from behind her car and cracks him upside the head with like a pipe wrench or something. And, you know, they stuff a sack on his head and cram him into a van or something and drive off. Like, that's how that shit happens in the movies. Later on that same day, like, the story keeps going, it gets better, right? So later on that same day, it's like 9:30 at night, I get a random ping on my phone. Somebody wants a walk Up in the like north side of Tulsa, over by where the gym is, there's like fields and like it's more country-ish out there. It's not as it's not as gentrified urbane as this is over here. That was like the shortest light ever. So I'm like, you know what? I'm a team player. Screw it. You know, it's a walk for 10 o'clock at night. I can make it in the middle of like country ass North Tulsa. I drive out there and I'm looking at the notes, and it's like the directions are for a trailer out behind the house in front, and I was like, okay, so you know, I've been on like multi-dwelling properties before. It's not outside of my comfort zone. But like as the story starts to unfold, I start getting more and more skeeved out. Like I've already been like potentially kidnapped once today. Like possibly, like there was a probability that might have happened to somebody in that form or fashion at one point in time and space. So I'm not ruling it out as a possibility that it might have happened to me. So I mean, it didn't, but it could have, you know what I mean? So like I'm getting more and more skeeved, more and more paranoid as I drive out there. So I walk, I park the car, I get out, I walk around the first house, and yeah, there's like multiple houses, and there's like a big shop building over off to the right. So I start looking around, and I can see the trailer, but it's on the back side of this fence, and I'm like, am I on the right property? So I had to walk like around both houses through like dark corners. I've got my phone flashlight on again, looking around, and I get to this fabled trailer. Interesting. And they saw me coming. They knew I was there. So the guy's looking out the window, and he looks like a sawed-off Jesse Pinkman or something. He looks out the window, and he goes, and he like ducks back in. And I hear like people walking around and talking, and I can see inside there's no drywall. It's all exposed insulation all up on the inside of this thing. So I'm like a little skeeved. I don't hear any dogs. There are dogs outside, but I don't hear any dogs. And so finally the guy opens the door and he goes, man, she don't want no dog walk, man. She's been drinking. I'm sorry, man. I hope you still get paid for coming out here. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I'll get a cancellation fee. And he's like, how do I do that? And I'm like, she can do it on the user end, or I can get in touch with WAG and handle it from there. Which is what I ended up doing, because that guy too looks like a sawed-off Jesse Pinkman. Anyway, the back of that car looks like it's wearing a mustache. That is not where a mustache goes. Crazy people in their bad car anatomy. Like putting headlights in the rear. It's probably illegal, but it's probably been done. Anyway, sorry about that. So, story keeps getting better. So I went ahead and I left. And I'm thinking, you know, I'm kind of glad that was me. And I lost something. Not somebody small or vulnerable, because I didn't feel safe from the moment I stepped out of my car. Like, it was just a gut feeling, I guess I had, an instinct. So I was like, I didn't feel safe. So I actually included that in the text message to WAG. I was like, hey, they turned me away for this walk. They said that they'd been drinking and that they didn't want it. I didn't feel safe there, and I wouldn't recommend in the future for dog walkers to go out there. And so they thanked me for that and like apologized for the bad experience. And I'm like, well, it wasn't really a bad experience for me, but it could have been for somebody else, because you know, I'm large and intimidating. Like, you know, if somebody were to attempt to kidnap me, they would probably have their work cut out for them. And yeah, they would have their work cut out for them. And they would probably think twice about it, or do what these people did and say, you know what, we're good, just go away. And that's what I did. So I went to the gym. Contrast all of this to Thursday, where it was less of me getting intimidated by giant dogs and me getting trolled by this little schnauzer shit. It reminded me of my mom's dog, Taz. Like little, like, mustache dog, and like, ugly little things. I don't like schnauzer. Oh, they're alright, I guess. I just don't like the wiry, scraggly hair coat. I just don't. Like, I like the pit bull. It's like sleek and aerodynamic. Well, aside from that head, but you know, still sleek and aerodynamic as far as the, like, the shape of the coat. I like the head shape. It's nice and friendly and it's bright and smile. So I get there. It's just like, you know, 20-pound dog, 20, 25, 20 to 30 tops. And instantly the alarm goes off. Like, that's the start of my day. Like, the alarms are going off. So I text the owner and I'm like, I'm really sorry, but your alarm's going off. And I don't know if it freaked out the dog and he just like wasn't coming to me. But he wasn't coming to me at all. So he's just like running from me and like running from the leash, like circling the coffee table, wouldn't let me get him. So I'm texting the owner and she's like, yeah, get a squeak toy and the leash and he should come to you. And I'm like, well, she's like, is he coming to you yet? Like after a few minutes, and I'm like, no, still trying. She's like, corner his ass. He was rather mischievous. I got trolled by a schnauzer. So finally, I shoved the coffee table up against the couch so he couldn't circle around that. I got him circling something a little bit bigger on the hardwood floor where he had no traction. So I had him sliding one way. I have shoes on. I can move on hardwood. I run in and I grab him by the collar and, you know, put the leash on. And we take off down the strip. And we get our walk in. He pees on everything, doesn't poop. We get back to the house, you know. I'm like, we kind of like got right into the business, dog. I didn't get to like pet you and get to know you at all. So I get down there, I give him a few head rubs, you know, putting his leash up, getting the key back and all situated and stuff. And, you know, hang the leash up, getting ready to go. And I turn around and he is giving me this look. Like, oh my God, no, don't leave me look. Like the same look that I got from like, you know, Face Melt 5000. But on a schnauzer, right? So I'm like, I'm sorry, boofers, I gotta go. I'm late for another appointment that you made me late for by running for me for 16 minutes. It was like 16 minutes he ran from me. So I ended up late AF for my normal thing. And it was all right. I didn't miss too much, I hope. So that was that. So really weird sequence of events the last several days. It's just been bizarre. But hopefully things turn around. The last couple of videos that I uploaded were flagged like not friendly. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if this channel is flagged not friendly, or if there was something in the titles that I did, maybe. So I'm going to tinker with that a bit and see if there's not a rhyme or reason for it. If nothing else, I don't know, I may switch back over to the other channel for a bit because it's picked up a little bit of traffic despite not having any uploads. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens when I upload the exact same video on that channel. So anyway, that's it for me. This extra long video. I hope you enjoyed it. Wonderful story time. I had narratives today. I was frozen today. Narratives. Oh, that looks good. Sorry, I might be a little bit hungry, and I might be a little bit hangry, and I might have exhausted myself at the gym. So, I'm liking the, I think I've lost weight in the face. I'm liking that. So anyway, leave me a comment in the comments section below. How's your week going? How you doing? How you been? How's your mom and them? Let me know if you're new here. Subscribe. I don't do this a whole hell of a lot these days. I'm gonna come back to doing it a little bit more once the semester winds up and I'm out of the school flow and into the real life flow. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, I guess that's it. All I gotta do is say goodbye. I'm 3D. This was Tales from the Driver's Seat, and I'll see you next time.